adlaw sa tanan. Nahanasab mi diri inyong paborito nga DJ nga permi magsaba-saba. Pero magtala og kalipay og paghatod impormasyon og leksyon. Welcome to our podcast episode 156 entitled Understanding Indigenous Culture and Diversity in Mindanao. I am Michaela Martinez with my partner Lovely Quijada. Today, we will talk about our reflections on the video, The Ancient Tribe of the Mountains in Bukidnon, Philippines, and connect it to the cultural diversity, indigenous groups in Mindanao, and our role as members of Generation Z. In this episode, we'll share the lessons that stood out to us, our personal reactions, and how young people today can help promote respect, inclusivity, and positive relationships among different cultural groups. So bahin ani nga mga questions mao ni ang gihatag sa mga audience nato unta gusto nila nga mahibalaan kuno kung unsa atong topic or unsa atong point of view bahin ani nga topic, no? Tuluran ni kabuok nga pangutana. O sige, basahon nato ang una nga pangutana, partner. Okay, so guide question number 1. What message from the video stood out to you the most and why? Okay, for me, the message that stood out the most was the importance of preserving indigenous culture and traditions. In the video, the Higaonon tribe showed their rituals, way of living, and connection with nature. I was really amazed by how they continue to practice their traditions even though modern society is rapidly changing.
I agree with that, partner, no? What really caught my attention was how peaceful and united their community was. Even though they live far from urban areas and have a simple lifestyle, they still showed happiness, cooperation, and respect for one another. And it made me realize that being modern or advanced does not always define a meaningful life.
Yes, and I also noticed how deeply they value nature and their ancestral land. Nowadays kasi, many people take nature for granted, but the tribe treats it with respect because they believe it is connected to their identity and survival.
That's true. The video reminded me that indigenous communities are not behind society. Instead, they have wisdom, traditions, and values that people today can still learn from, especially about unity, discipline, and caring for the environment.
Alright, now moving on to guide question number 2. How can cultural diversity become a bridge instead of a barrier?
I think cultural diversity becomes a bridge when people choose understanding instead of judgment. People may have different languages, beliefs, traditions, or lifestyles, but these differences can help us learn from one another instead of creating conflict.
Exactly. Sometimes people become afraid of cultures they don't understand, which can lead to stereotypes or discrimination. But if we take time to listen, communicate, and respect others, diversity can actually unite communities.
For example, in Mindanao, there are Lumad groups, Moro communities, and Christian settlers. Even though they have different backgrounds, peaceful relationships can still happen when there is a mutual respect and acceptance.
I also think that education plays a big role. Schools, social media, and community programs can help people understand the cultures of indigenous groups instead of spreading misinformation. When knowledge increases, respect also grows, right, partner?
That's very true. Diversity should not separate people. Instead, it should help us appreciate how unique and beautiful different cultures are. Learning about other traditions can help reduce prejudice and strengthen unity. Lahi pa'y ato partner na ay nag-text sa ako aganina nga manawag daw siya aron iyang i-share ang ilahang experience bahin sa ilang kultura nga sakto og swak pod sa ato ang topic karon partner.
Hello sa tanan. Ako dahil si Maria, gusto ko kamiyembro sa Tanghiliban sa Manubo din sa Mindanao. Gusto na ko i-share ang akong kasinabihan basin sa diskriminasyon tungkol sa akong kultura. Sa akong high school, nayon sa kasiyayon na nagsukod ko sa auto tradisyonal na sanina sa Manubo. Isipahin sa among kultura nga presendasyon. Pagkayo sa klase, nagsukod ang uban at katawan ako. Nagpasangin na wala'y disiplina o balik sa katahapon daw. Tungod kay nasulog ko tradisyonal na sahina. Imbis na ako sukiron. Grabe ang kasupod na ko doon kay mura kong in-charge sa tibo akong katingilingban. Based sa mga stereotypes kung sa iyo pagsabot. Nakaingon ko nga mas maayo pa nga ipaakit ang akong kultura aron mas mayinhan nila ang katabong kong pili sa among identidad.
Dili gyud ay lilim imong naagian Maria. Salamat kaayo no sa pagpaambit sa imong kasinatian. Importante gyud ay masabtan nato ang diskriminasyon nga dili gyud ay siya maayo gyud.
Tinuod gyud na ang imong gisulti mao ang usa ka paalala nga kinahanglan nato nga magtinabangay aron mapukaw ang kahibalo ug respeto sa tanan nga klase sa kultura. So, salamat kaayo sa imong kadasig ug pagpaambit Maria. O sige, palayon kita sa last nga pangutana partner.
Alright, now let's proceed to the last question partner. Guide question number 3. As members of Generation Z, why is it important to understand indigenous groups in Mindanao? Okay, kita partner, Gen Z magyud ta no, Gen Z. Gen Z. So, as members of Generation Z, I think it's important because we are the next generation that will continue shaping society, diba? If young people ignore indigenous cultures, there's a possibility yun, that traditions and identities may slowly disappear.
Yes, and Gen Z has a strong influence online. We use social media every day, so we can use these platforms to spread awareness, promote inclusivity, and fight stereotypes against indigenous people.
Okay, partner. Mag-break sa guro ta kadali, uy. Kay murag hangak pa no, partner. Okay, mga tagapagminaw, sumubalik ra kami.
Ania si Nanay Susima Dagsaan samtang iyang gimintinar ang Paragis Bila-Bila Herbal Capsule.
PRPS2. Paragis Bila-Bila, Paragis, linimento kapsula, plasani, tumagani, Paragis Bila-Bila, nasapaka, dininata, Paragis Bila-Bila, sa Paragis liniment, o kining ang kapsula, nindot ka ayaw kini, o di na magagwanta, maunang palit na kamo, sa inyong suking butika, kay di gyud mo magmahay, sa Paragis Bila-Bila.
Okay now, mga tagapagminaw. Uy. Okay, as we reach our closing reflection, no? To summarize our discussion, the video taught us that the importance of preserving indigenous culture, respecting diversity, and appreciating the traditions of different communities in Mindanao.
Because at the end of the day, respecting culture means respecting people, their identity, and their history. Hala, uy! Unsa na day oras, partner? Diri na takutob, uy! Salamat sa tanan nga kapaminaw sa amua. Ciao!
Siyang tunay, partner. O siya, diri rami taman mga tagapagminaw namo. Ayaw kaguol, mubalik ra kami diri. Inyong paborito nga DJ nga permi magsaba-saba, pero magdala og kalipay og paghatod impormasyon og leksyon. Salamat!